keep in mind that my writing, this book here, is a work in progress. Now, there's going to be grammar errors and there's going to be misspellings, and I'll go back and I'll catch that eventually. If I don't, the editor will, if it gets published. But anyway, it's a work in progress, and I will go back in the chapters and I will add to it to make something else make sense. 2 or 3 chapters later, I have to go back and put some details in there so that it will make sense later on. So this is the night that Pete Pickett stole Ruby's candy bar money. And I've already read that chapter, but I've gone back and I've added to it. Bertie saw Pete and Ruby arguing on the steps, and Pete, they got into a little tussle over the candy bar money, and Ruby fell. Well, Pete went on, and Ruby got, she got scratched up and everything. And so Bertie, she called her friend, and then Bo came over. So it's Ruby, Dolores, Bertie, and Bo. And this is where they came over and they, picked up the house and changed the sheets and gave them a little food and tended to Ruby. And then they're leaving now. As the women quietly slipped out the door of Ruby's trailer, they noticed that Bo had made it back home. He was pacing on the sidewalk as they walked over to him. "Where'd you go?" Bertie asked. Bo said nothing at first. He seemed to be in deep thought. "Bo," she tried again. "Here." He handed the money over to her. Now, I know that drunkard of a man didn't just hand that all over willy-nilly, did he? Dolores chimed in. "Hush it, woman," Bertie scolded her friend. Bo continued pacing back and forth. The women followed suit, just pacing with him. "What'd you do, Bo?" Bertie's voice was sounding more and more nervous. "Give him room, sister," Dolores instructed as she reached for her friend's arm and pulled her a few feet back. "He's in a ditch down there near the 7-Eleven, so no, he didn't just hand it all over willy-nilly," he snapped back. "Is he dead?" Dolores blurted. Bo said nothing as he kept pacing. "Lord have mercy, he's dead, ain't he? I know it, he's dead," Dolores continued questioning. "Stop babbling, woman," Bertie said. She was pawing at her friend's arm. The man took another long draw off his cigarette and flicked it to the ground. The wide-eyed women stood motionless as they waited for any signs of denial or, even worse, confirmation. "Oh, sweet Jesus, he's dead, ain't he? We going to jail, Dolores. We going to jail." Bertie stole the cigarette pack right out of Bo's shirt pocket. "What you mean, we? Why'd you even call me down here anyway? I don't know these people. I ain't done nothing but change those nasty sheets and wash some dishes. That's all I did. I going home. Forget y'all even know my name. Jail? Oh, I don't think so. I done nothing. I saw nothing. I know nothing. I don't even know those folks. I tell you both, don't know them." "What you call me down here for?" Dolores let her true intentions be known. Bertie insisted Bo go on inside and not say another word to anyone. "Come on, Dolores. We're going to see," Bertie yelled down the sidewalk, trying to get her friend to come back. "Shh! You trying to wake up a few more witnesses to all this mess?" Dolores yelled back. The women jumped in Dolores' car and headed to see if the man was dead or not. Deep down inside the pits of their stomachs, they knew he was dead. Both even felt a little guilty, hoping he was. All the way there, trying to do their best to justify the Lord taking that drunkard on home. "Did you see that refrigerator? Those poor babies," one of them said, followed by the other mentioning, "Not the first bite of food in there. Poor babies." Thankfully, the women found Pete in his messed up car in a ditch before anyone else did. Dolores reached in her purse and found a flashlight. They eased up to the driver's side window and found Pete. "Is he dead?" Dolores asked. "No," Bertie answered. "Well, I guess we should thank the good Lord, right?" Dolores said. "Yeah, we should, but..." Bertie was answering when Pete opened his eyes. They both ducked to the ground. "What do we do?" Dolores whispered. Pete started cussing when he realized he was stuck in the ditch. In his frustration, he blew the horn in anger, which caused both the women to scream. "Who's there?" Pete yelled. The woman remained silent. I said, who's there? Pete yelled again, only this time adding a few not so pleasant words. Bertie decided to crawl on her hands and knees to escape the barrage of colorful words spewing from the drunken fool. She looked back to see Dolores reaching into her purse once more. Bertie crawled back to Pete's car. What are you doing? Come on, Bertie whispered to her friend. Just a minute, let me find... Dolores stopped her sentence and then whispered, here they are. Dolores, what you need scissors for at this very minute? Have you lost your mind? Bertie whispered back. Nope. You remember this fool chasing Ruby through the yard trying to cut her hair? Dolores recalled. Yeah, why? She answered. Well, I vowed then and there to scalp this fool one day, and today is the day. You hold him still, Dolores instructed. The women raised up to find Pete passed out once again, and Dolores made good on that promise. There you go. Now, later on, you're gonna see that haircut come into play. Now I'm strolling down, getting past stuff I've already read. Keeping on going. Passing Bertie's little secret. Okay, the last chapter I read was called Did You Hear the Gossip? And this is the continuation of that chapter. Over the next few days, Bertie and Dolores kept to themselves, with both watching out their own trailer windows. Occasionally, Pete would stare over towards Bertie's trailer as if he was desperately trying to piece together what exactly happened that night. No matter how hard he thought about it, he just could not make any sense of how he came to have a black eye, a swollen nose, and a totaled car. Perhaps the most troubling of all things was what happened to his hair. Neither his wife nor Rubiana dared mention the fact that all started with the candy bar money he stole. Ruby had the money hidden where it would be safe until she jumped on the school bus Monday morning. Her puppet show ticket was secure. Bo, the handsome neighbor, thought it best to go out of town for a few days. Dolores went on to work as usual, only she would exit out the back of the entrance of the park. Rose did her best to fix Pete's hair. The more she tried to fix it, the madder Pete got, especially when he caught Ruby grinning from time to time. Rose couldn't help it but to find joy in the situation as well. All right, that was the end of that chapter. Now, let's go on to something else I wrote. And I don't even know what chapter it is. I think it's going to be chapter 16. I'll have to look back and see. The title is called The Night That Changed Live Oaks Trailer Park Forever. Y'all may hate me after this. It had been nearly 2 months since Pete received his so-called haircut. For a couple of weeks, Pete had declared only to himself that he would never again have a night where he could not remember what happened. Ruby was beginning to have some hope that if her daddy could fix his problem, then maybe, just maybe, her mama would get better too. Ruby longed for the days of the past where on Friday nights the family would load up in the car and go to Pizza Hut. It was a time of laughter and delicious cheese pizza. After they finished eating supper, she and Kitty would hold hands as they walked over to Baskin Robbins to get a scoop of whatever their favorite flavor would be for the week. The trailer park seemed to carry on as if no one remembered the night the sheriff's office brought the drunkard man home. Bertie and Dolores began to breathe a sigh of relief that Pete could not remember how he got his hair that way. Ruby was still talking about how awesome the puppet show was and how she and Caroline were chosen to come up on the stage to participate with one of the puppets. It was also the same month that Kitty got her first spanking from her daddy. She was caught hiding her mama's kitchen matches again. The gas stove's pilot light was not working as it should, so Rose needed the matches to make the flame come on. Another one of Pete's broken promises to get things fixed around the house. It was the matches that changed the trailer park forever. This particular Wednesday was like the others. A church bus picked up the kids for Wednesday night prayer meeting with supper provided. Truth be known, Kitty and Ruby needed the meal. Most of the times, Ruby would bring one of the to-go plates home if the meal team had set out the extra food for any of the congregation, in case any of the congregation wanted it. By the time the church bus returned the kids, Rose had already gone to bed, and surprisingly, her daddy was at home sitting in his recliner drinking beer. Once again, it was up to Ruby to put her sister to bed, making sure Kitty had gone to the bathroom beforehand. She could hear her daddy stirring around in the kitchen, opening the refrigerator and then closing it hard enough the glass jars in the door clinked and clanged against each other. Then she heard her parents arguing. Rose was yelling how Pete could not keep a job. Pete was defending himself, saying the company was just having layoffs and it wasn't his fault. The argument woke Kitty up, but Ruby insisted they remained in bed. When Pete slammed the door and started up the car, Kitty made a beeline to her mother's room. Rose silently cried herself to sleep, doing her best not to let Kitty hear it. Sometime during the night, Kitty awoke and wandered back to the kitchen. She was looking for a cookie, but none to be found. What she did stumble upon was the box of matches her mother had sitting next to a pack of cigarettes. At first, Kitty held tight to the match, staring at the flame. When the flame got too close to her little fingers, she dropped it on the couch. The fire spread rapidly once the flame came in contact with the fabric, and Kitty ran back to her mama's bed. She hid under the covers and scooted as close as she could to her mother's body. Soon everything was engulfed in flames, with the fire separating the two ends of the trailer. Kitty screamed as she watched the fire ease into the bedroom. There you go. Y'all might hate me. And I think that's going to be the last of the chapters that I read. I got to have something left for y'all to buy the book, right? So maybe, fingers crossed, when I get it finished, the publisher will want it and the publisher will print it. Who knows? Anyway, y'all take care. Remember, buy a book or 2 or 10. I'm going to Alaska.